Hello everybody, this is Tyler here once again from the Other Games channel, and I am pretty excited to show you guys what I just got recently in the mail from NECA themselves. Now, I'm sure you guys are familiar. Within the past few months, I've done several videos showcasing the Super 7 reaction figures for Sesame Street. Well, funny enough, Super 7 is not the only company on the street that's doing Sesame Street action figures. NECA has recently done some of them. Oh, wait, what am I trying to say? NECA has also done some figures themselves for Sesame Street. And I'm sure a lot more people are familiar with NECA than they are Super 7. I feel like NECA at this point is kind of like a household name in the collecting community. But, so, pretty recently, about a few months ago, they released the first two figures in their Sesame Street line, that being, of course, the iconic duo of Ernie and Bert. So, just going to show you the packages of each of them. So, NECA does this line of figures called Ultimates, where they essentially, like, they're more than just action figures, they have, like, a lot more to them. So, just give you a bit of front look at the box. There's the Sesame Street logo. Sesame Street presents Ernie, NECA Ultimate Action Figure, featuring the letter C. And right at the top it says Volume 1, and then we got this nice artwork of Ernie and Rubber Ducky right there. So from what I looked up, and according to Sesame Street fans out there, this is apparently, the boxes are meant to represent these Sesame Street books from the 70s called The Treasury, which never heard about them, which makes sense. I'm not from the 70s, as you can tell, even though I kind of dig the vibe here. So there's the spine, there's some more artwork of Ernie with a #1 block, since he is, I guess, the first character from Sesame Street they made into a figure. So we got some nice photographs on the back. So here he is with the letter C, one of the few accessories he comes with. And there's a picture of him and Bert together with Ernie holding Rubber Ducky. And then this last photo here of Ernie just by himself. And there's the NECA logo at the bottom, which they actually kind of changed it up this time around. So for the Sesame Street figures, they have this exclusive logo where I think it's meant to be based off of, I believe, was this logo also on the Treasury books? I'm not sure. Correct me in the comments if that's true. And I also love this little disclaimer, Bert sold separately, because of course the Bert figure was on the picture right there. And this spine right here is exactly the same as the other one. And when you open up Ernie, or at least open up this portion of the box, if I can get it open, there you go. So we got another nice big photograph of Ernie holding Rubber Ducky. And then here are all the components of Ernie, and I just noticed that his alternate head wasn't tied in all the way. That's I mean, it doesn't look like it's really in any bad condition. It still looks good. So we'll see what happens when I eventually take Ernie out and showcase all his features and accessories. So there's good old Ernie right there, and a lot of his accessories. So there's the alternate head that I've already showcased. There's Rubber Ducky, he's got 4 alternate hands, the letter C, and then the iconic picture frame from the Bert and Ernie segments. If I can just give me a moment. There we go. Yep, there it is right up there. The very iconic Bert and Ernie painting that you see in their sketches. So that is all the stuff that's inside the Ernie box. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I did get this directly from NECA's website. Now, I didn't know about this prior to buying them, and I did find out about this, like, not too long after ordering these, but apparently, like, I've heard from several people in the fandom that, like, NECA's not a very, like, when people recommend buying NECA figures, they don't recommend buying directly from NECA, so people have had a lot of complaints about them, how orders are not coming in and all that, and mine came in, though. Mine didn't have any, trouble, so either I was pretty lucky with mine, or people are just, trying to cause drama, or I don't know, maybe NECA has listened to the complaints and are actually taking criticism to heart. Anyways, that's a big tangent. So here's Bert. So he has, there's the front right there, and he comes with the letter A in Volume 2, so he's the second figure they made. Some more lovely artwork right there. Him holding his Balcov collection to Bernice, I would assume. And then here's the spine, kind of similar to the Ernie one. There's Bert's picture on top of the #2 number block. And then we get some photographs of Bert right here. So there he is, holding his paperclip collection right next to his bottle cap collection. Bert is quite the collector, just like a lot of us who are probably into this sort of stuff. And there he is with Bernice. And then another picture of another accessory of his, a book of boring stories. And then same info on the bottom right there. And something I didn't showcase on Ernie, there's the bottom of the box lists the people that were involved in making the figure. So there's the directors, the sculptor, painters, prototypes, photography, packaging, and illustrations. And also a list of, I don't know why I was like, sorry about that. There's all the names of the people involved with making the figure, and then they actually list the accessories of the figures. That's actually really cool. And the licensing stuff and all that. And Bert's is a little bit different because it actually showcases that he has like interchangeable unibrow. So that's actually really cool. I like that. And I've looked at the credits, and they're generally the same people worked on the figure as Ernie. So they got the same team involved, which I guess makes sense just to make the line a bit more consistent. So there's a larger photograph of Bert with his bottle caps. And then here's Bert right here. Now I noticed Bert does come with a bit more accessories than Ernie does. So there's Bert right there with his neutral face and his more natural unibrow. And then there's his alternate head with it open and his more grouchy unibrow. There's his bottle cap collection. There's his boring stories. And then right up here we have his box of paper clips. Then we got Bernice right there, and then he's got 4 alternative hands just like Ernie. And then there's the letter A accessory that Bert comes with. So, yep, looking forward to getting these guys out of the box. So I am going to start getting these guys out of their boxes, and I will showcase to you what they both look like. Alright everybody, I'm back. Sorry for the change in setting, but this is Ernie and all of the accessories that he comes with, so I'm actually going to make things a little bit easier and showcase his accessories first. Let's start off with his faithful rubber ducky, and I gotta say, that's a pretty great interpretation of rubber ducky. Looks very show accurate, so yeah, not much to say. Really like it. And then we also have the letter that's included with Ernie. We have the letter C right there, stylized to kind of look like a Muppet. There we go. And then we have the iconic picture frame for Bert and Ernie that you see in the background of their apartment. And I love how it includes a little hole that you can like hook it into the wall of your own display or your own shelf. So that's really nice. And then, of course, there's the alternate Ernie head where has his mouth open. And then the alternate hands, which I'll showcase. So we have 2 hands that are basically used to point. And then we got 2 more hands that are used to hold on to objects, essentially. Alright, since I gave a brief little rundown of the accessories, let's take a look at good old Ernie himself, and I just gotta say right off the bat, looks absolutely fantastic. Looks very show accurate. Like, the face is perfect, the eyes are perfectly aligned, the mouth, the hair, which is... I've heard you can actually remove this, like so. And you're probably wondering why that is. Well, from what I've heard, apparently they're planning on doing hat accessories in the future for the Sesame Street figures, so I guess that's why they added that as a feature, so that's something to keep in mind. So, speaking on Ernie's head, so Ernie, you can turn his head 360, you can have him looking up, you can have him looking down. So, lots of articulation in Ernie's head alone, but let's take a look at the rest of Ernie's body. His body has like a very squishy feel to it. And, of course, his arms have articulation, so you can rotate them like so. And then there's a hinge over here that you're supposed to be able to, like... Oh, by the way, this forearm part can swivel. But I believe you're also supposed to, like, bend it, but mine currently can't bend. Probably have to... It's not very warm right now, so might have to wait until, like, I don't know, it gets warmer, or maybe I can just try to get a blow dryer, see if I can get his arms to kind of properly bend like that. And there's the removable hands, which can turn this way, and I believe... I was wondering if they can, like... Yeah, because there's a little mechanism. See if I can get them to... Yeah, some of Ernie's movements are kind of stiff right now, but as I brought up before, that's probably because of the cold weather, so can't really fault them too bad for that. And then his whole body can also swivel, so that's interesting. And then his legs also have similar articulation to the arms. Like I said, this part's supposed to bend as well, but yep, mine's having a bit of trouble, but that's fine. And then his ankle can also swivel, which is interesting. So, yeah, not really much else to say. Ernie articulates very well. Well, with a few exceptions, but of course I'm sure over time that'll probably change. And, yeah, I'm going to showcase to you what he looks like with his alternate head. Oh boy, that took a while. Yeah, you guys probably noticed in the background I don't have any of Ernie's accessories out in front or behind, should I say. But yeah, no joke, that probably took me like almost 30 minutes to try to put this head onto Ernie. So keep that in mind if you guys are planning on getting these figures yourself, that you're probably going to have, you know, a difficult time at first trying to put the heads onto the bodies. A suggestion I often hear is like, you know, heating up the heads in like 2 different ways. The way I did it, I basically got some hot water and I dipped this head in there for like 20 seconds, and then after doing some more finagling, I was able to get the head back on. So, yep, this is Ernie with his open mouth. Looking way more expressive than the one with the closed mouth, but still awesome as always. And since I got to showcase Ernie with his alternate head, time to showcase to you the 2 sets of alternate hands that Ernie comes with. So hopefully these things won't take as long as the head did. Alright, so the hands thankfully were a lot easier to take apart and put on than the head was. So here are the 2 grabby hands. So my guess in the future, NECA is probably going to release some accessories for these characters that they can hold on to. I am very curious if I can just put Rubber Ducky in this hand. Not quite. Actually, yeah. Okay. So this will be a perfect Rubber Ducky holding hand, I guess you can say. So, awesome. Alright, and time to show you the last, what am I trying to say? Last pair of hands. So, Elon Musk, I heard you think we're communist, even though we're the friendliest place on Earth. You're it. Don't mean to get political there, but there we go. Anyways, there's Ernie's pointy fingers, pointy hands, looking good. Alright, overall, this is an absolutely amazing figure. I love this, and I'm going to be showcasing Bert in a little bit. So, yep, just give me a few more minutes, and then we'll get Bert down here, and I'll go in-depth with his accessories and his alternate head, unibrow, and hands. Alrighty guys, here's an in-depth look at Bert and the variety of accessories that he has. So remember what I said at the beginning of the video, like, oh, I must have looked out when it came to NECA? Well, I was 99% right, except for one thing. Where's the pigeon's feet? There is no feet on the pigeon. There is supposed to be feet, but nope, they just decided to not be there. And I did double check. I double checked the inside of the box. The feet were not in there. And the first like clip that I made for this video, I did rewind that a bit to see if the feet were in the package anywhere. But no feet. No feet for the pigeon. But other than that, the pigeon looks absolutely pretty good. Very realistic. Unlike the Super 7 pigeon, where it looks cartoony and looks kind of similar to what the Muppets look like, which I guess makes sense, because if you watch Sesame Street itself, I mean, I'm sure everybody has watched Sesame Street at this point, you notice that, like, I mean, pigeons are Bert's favorite animal, and a lot of times when he interacts with pigeons, they're usually live-action pigeons and not, like, Muppet pigeons. Anyways, another accessory, his book of boring stories, and no actual words on the inside, and you can't close this, so it's just stuck like that. There we go. And then, one of Bert's many collections, we have his paperclip collection in a cigar box, which I believe is meant to be a reference to the Christmas Eve on Sesame Street special, where him and Ernie were trying to get something for each other for Christmas, and they had to, like, apparently sell their belongings in order to get the accessory. Like, for Bert's, he sold his paperclip collection in order to get I think it was a soap dish for Ernie's rubber duck, and then Ernie sold his rubber ducky in order to get Bert a new cigar box for his paperclip collection. So you guys can watch the full clip on YouTube. It's like really wholesome and not really much else to say, but that's Bert's paperclips and the cigar box. Boy, oh boy. Alright, next up we have another collection of Bert's, this time being his bottle caps. So, very minimal detail on these, but at the same time though, you can kind of see the texture of like the rim of the bottle caps, so really nice. Comes on a stand so you can have this displayed like on the ground. Really awesome. And then just like Ernie, who came with the letter C, Bert came with the letter A. And I like the letter C. He actually has a nose and a mouth. So there we go. I'll give you a better look at him. Or her. Here we go. That's the first letter of the alphabet. Alright, and of course, just like Ernie, Bert comes with an alternate head. So there he is with his open mouth. And in addition to an alternate head, he comes with an alternate unibrow, which you can take off and basically have Bert emote either way, regardless of whether his mouth is open or not, which I'll showcase in a bit. And then very similar alternate hands to what Ernie has. So we do have a pair of pointy fingers, and we have a pair of grabby fingers, or grabby hands, should I say. So there's his hands, and let us take a look at the man of the hour himself, Bert. So there he is, looking very, very show accurate, just like Ernie. Right there. Nice, and very similar to Ernie. He has very similar head articulation, a bit more smoother than Ernie's, I've noticed. And arm articulation, kind of the same. And I like my Ernie figure. Bert doesn't have any problems like bending his forearms, so that's actually, you know, nice. There we go. And just like Ernie, has very similar hand swivel. Briefly show you the other arm. And also torso movement, just like Ernie. And the shirt also has a very similar texture to Ernie's. And then his legs. And what do you know of that? His legs are a bit more flexible than Ernie's as well. Very interesting. Ankles, very similar motion to Ernie's. Alright, and that was a brief look at Bert. Bert looks absolutely fantastic, just like Ernie. You're probably gonna hear me saying fantastic so many times in this video, but there we go. So, give me a moment, or should I say give me 30 minutes to basically put Bert's alternate head on. Okay, good news is Bert's head did not take as long to put back on as Ernie's was. So there's Bert's open mouth right there. Very similar articulation with the Ernie head. And because Bert has the alternate unibrow, time for me to briefly showcase what he looks like with the different unibrows. Alright, so there is Bert with the open mouth and the more relaxed unibrow. And just so I don't have to worry about putting this head back on, there's what the closed mouth Bert face looks like with the grumpy unibrow. Alright, here's what Bert looks like with his grabbing hands right there. Alright, here's Bert with one pointy hand, and there he is with the other pointy hand. So, all in all, that's that was what Bert was like. Definitely has a bit more accessories than Ernie, and definitely a bit more to do, since he's got that interchangeable unibrow, so yeah. Both figures are great, but Bert right here is definitely, you know, amazing just for some of those extra features. Just for a bit of size comparison, here's what the Bert and Ernie NECA figures look like next to my Super 7 Sesame Street reaction figures. So, yeah, almost double the height in comparison. And I gotta say, I've already said this before, these figures are absolutely amazing. And I'm definitely looking forward to The next release is coming up. I believe some Target stores, I don't know how many, have started getting the count, so they've made a NECA figure of the cow. The count? I almost said cow. And then at a Toy Fair, they recently announced 3 more characters getting made into NECA Ultimate figures from Sesame Street. Those being Oscar, Big Bird, and Harry Monster, so still no confirmations of when those are coming out, but definitely looking forward to getting those as well when they do eventually come out. But yeah, there we go. Absolutely amazing. Not very many complaints right here. Well, besides the fact that the heads are a pain in the butt to put on their bodies, and also the fact that the pigeon that comes with Bert doesn't have the feet for some weird reason. And yep, currently in the process of contacting NECA about it, so we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully there will be a good compromise. But other than that, love the figures. Absolutely amazing. Gonna keep saying that. If you guys are interested in these figures, definitely check them out yourselves. I'm sure your local Target will probably have them. So, and I'm not sure what other retailers carry NECA figures, but I'm sure you'll probably find them out there somewhere. And also, just make sure that the accessories are complete and not missing any parts, like the pigeon. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos to come on this channel. This is Tyler from the Other Games channel, signing out.